What an absolute whipsaw of a trading session we just had in the world's largest casino. In this video, we have three major things to talk about. Numero uno, how the Trump pump turned into a Trump dump. We have to talk about Nvidia's earnings and more specifically, how the market has no idea what to make of it. And then we also have to talk about what to pay attention to for the remainder of the week, because even though today was a little bit crazy, the remainder of the week, I'm betting a lot, is going to be much more crazy. Obviously, if you enjoy these type of market breakdowns and updates, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to say hi in the comments. And with that being said, let's rock. By the time the dust officially settled on the day, we didn't really go anywhere. The S&P 500 ekes out gain on Wednesday, ending a 4-day run of losses. That doesn't really tell the whole story. The SPY this morning had a nice pop up until about 11, and you could see it broke down around 12:10, 12:30, and I'll be getting into why that happened. Same thing with the Qs. But overall on the day, the SPY was slightly green, the Qs were slightly green, but really the headline, the heat maps, they don't tell you what happened. For the first half of the day, things were legitimately bullish. The option flow was really strong, and if you watched the morning show, you know that we were legitimately having a Vanna rally. Puts were being closed out like no other, market makers were ditching their shorts, and we were pumping, and we were eyeing up a nice gain, and then everything turned. And it all turned because of this. Breaking, the S&P 500 falls sharply as President Trump says 25% tariffs on the EU are coming, and just like that, $500 billion worth of value were Thanos snapped out of existence, and it didn't stop there. The VIX, the volatility of the S&P 500, especially in the afternoon, really started to pick up, and the sell-off just kept continuing. The S&P 500 has officially erased its 60-point gain on the day and turned negative as President Trump begins the trade war with the EU. So what in the world is going on? What are the details of this story? Well, we found out today, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, that Trump is once again floating a 25% tariff on the EU. Here are the specific details. The US is considering 25% tariffs on the EU, President Trump said at the White House today, Wednesday. Trump had previously said that he would target the EU with tariffs in response to the bloc's own duties, taxes, and regulations on American firms, but had not specified a number. During a cabinet meeting today, Wednesday, Trump told reporters that the tariffs will be 25% generally speaking, and that they will be on cars and all the things. Trump did not specify when the EU tariffs would be imposed, but said that many trade actions would come by April 2nd. Make sure to mark that date on your calendar. After the completion of a trade policy review he ordered on his first day in office. Obviously, as the trade war is once again kicking off, equities are not liking it, but it is not stopping there. Bitcoin also got murked. Bitcoin and the broader market dips after Trump plans to impose a 25% tariff on the EU. When you take a quick peek at the weekly view of old bitty Bitcoin, you realize the situation is not bueno. Right here, you can see we smashed major support in mid-January and also in about late November. We cracked it, we're below it. I think the first real shot we have at catching a bit of a bounce is somewhere in the low to mid 70s. So that's definitely what I'm going to be watching. But for those of you who are like, okay,
why is this, so confusing, so much uncertainty? Why is this so negative to the market?
This is from Trump himself.
Mr. President, can you clarify the Canada-Mexico tariffs? You had put that 30-day pause, but you just referred to April.
25%.
25%. When does it go into effect?
April 2nd.
April 2nd for Canada-Mexico.
Correct. And for everything.
Well, we have the fentanyl-related is a pause. If they can prove to the president they've done an excellent job,
Commerce
that's
Secretary.
what they first do in 30 days. But then the overall is April 2nd. So the big transaction is April 2nd, but the fentanyl-related things, they're working hard on the border. At the end of that 30 days, they have to prove to the president that they've satisfied him to that regard. If they have,
it's going to be hard
he'll give them a pause, or he won't. But
it's going to be hard to satisfy. We lose 300,000 people a year to fentanyl. Not 100, not 95, not 60 like you read. You've been reading it for years. We lost, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, on average, maybe close to 300,000 people dead. Look, we support Canada, $200 billion a year in subsidies one way or the other. We let them make millions of cars. We let them send us lumber. We don't need their lumber. We're going to free up our lumber. Lee's going to do that, head of environmental. We're going to free up our lumber. We have the best lumber there is. We don't need their lumber. What do we need their lumber for? When you look at we subsidize them $200 billion a year. Without us, Canada can't make it.
So the skinny on this situation is we were having a tariff war that turned into an alleged drug war, and it was really dressed up because we know it's just a trade war, and apparently we don't need Canada's lumber. Well, with respect to the EU, they quickly clapped back, if you will. European Commission spokesperson, in response to Trump's comments, the EU will react firmly and immediately against unjustified barriers to free and fair trade. So, as anyone's talking about tariffs going higher and higher and higher, it is no surprise that the markets, including crypto, got hit. But that brings us to the second big thing we need to talk about for today, and it's not just earnings, but it is earnings of a huge company that you might know as Nvidia. And right now, I haven't actually seen this since I started filming it. The initial reaction was we dropped, we popped, we dropped again, then we popped, and now we're slowly bleeding off. But right now in real time, it's pretty much break even, which is crazy. Plus $5, minus $5, plus $5, minus $5. It doesn't know what it wants to do, but here are the actual numbers. Nvidia EPS beat 89 versus 84 cents. If you look at the data center revenue, also beat 35.6 billion versus 34.1 billion. And then if you look at the overall revenue, and last but not least, looking at the Q1 revenue, their estimated revenue, 43 billion plus or minus 2%. I also dove a little bit more into it. Apparently the Blackwell chip is selling like no other. All the initial numbers, I have to admit, seem very, very bullish. I'm kind of sitting here surprised that Nvidia isn't ripping more and more and more. By the time that you're watching this, there's a good chance that we're already going to see the equities reaction to the actual earnings call. So I'll be making sure to cover that in tomorrow's show. But right now, this reaction, I'm truly surprised why we are not much higher. Nvidia sales grow 78% on AI demand. Company gives a strong guidance. Sitting here right now, I truly believe either the gap up or the gap down is going to be all dependent on the earnings call. So make sure you're paying attention to what's going on there. And whether you're playing this in a bullish or bearish direction, obviously, I wish you the best of luck. But the other thing we got to talk about is preparing for the remainder of the week, which is going to be absolutely wild. So before the market opens tomorrow, Thursday, the 27th, we get the GDP report. Right now, the line in the sand is 2.3%. And then just so you know, the remainder of the week, Friday, February the 28th, an hour before the market opens, we get the all-important inflation, aka the PCE report, the personal consumption expenditure. Both of these are going to be massively important because of what we're seeing going on with monetary policy. The Federal Reserve's favorite recession indicator is flashing a danger sign again. The 10-year Treasury yield passed below that of the 3-month note today, Wednesday. In market lingo, that's known as an inverted yield curve. Yield curve inversions had a strong but not perfect forecasting history. In fact, the previous inversion happened in October of 2022, and there's still been no recession 2.5 years later. So this isn't something to run home to mom about, but as an active trader, it's definitely something for you to pay attention to. The other thing you should be paying attention to are just the key levels. The SPY, lower highs, lower lows. We did break all these EMAs. We try to revert today. It gets smacked right at the 50 EMA, and now we're kind of in no man's land. If you're looking at the Nasdaq, similar situation, lower highs, lower lows, got smacked, try to break out today. No luck. We're still in that danger zone. And then the craziest thing I'm seeing is actually Bitcoin, as we've already spoken about, breaking its support, hanging out below the support. I don't see much in the way of catching it until we get into the low mid 70s. So the remainder of this week, especially with the reaction to Nvidia, you have the GDP report, the PCE report, and really the first bout of legitimate bearishness that we've had in a while. I think we are all ready for some absolute craziness. Now remember, if you want to trade through all this degeneracy with me, we run a show Monday to Friday, 9 to 11. You can hang out, you could ask questions, you could trade with me, you could see what I'm trading. I show everything that I'm doing, so I hope to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a thing or two, and if not, well, maybe in the next video. But I do truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much.